Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a very nice day. It is so bright out here. My eyes are actually watering from the brightness of the sun. The sun's kind of coming and going behind the clouds, but it's a beautiful day here. It's about 49, 50 degrees, and it's still morning. But I spent most of my morning gabbing with my one son, Bruce. Yeah, he must have been on the phone for 3 hours or more, and finally my phone went beep, 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 indicating that the battery was low. So I had to end my conversation, but we had a good talk. And today, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do today other than get some laundry done and do a little bit of cleaning up here and there. And if the weather permits, I'd really like to get out here and rake up my garden area. It is quite a mess. I really should have done more in the fall to lessen my work for the spring. But hey, that's okay. I'm gonna pay the piper with that one. But I'll talk to you after a little bit. I hope you have a wonderful day too. It is an absolutely gorgeous day out here. And guess what I have been doing for the last 3 hours? On the phone with Verizon, because our internet speed, I knew something was wrong. And when my son came out on Saturday evening to visit, he told me, he says, I think it's your router or your modem. I think that you probably need a new modem. And since mine is combined, he says, you might want to consider buying one. Well, what I did is I ended up calling up Verizon because that's the only provider available where I live. There is no other providers. And talking to them, because the combination modem and router that I have, it came from them. They didn't even charge us for it. When we first got it, DSL was new to this area, and that was about 8 or 9 years ago. And so as new customers, this entire area, everybody just got a new combination modem router, and that signed up for the DSL. Well, there was nothing else. Yeah, honestly, there's no cable, there's nothing out here. So anyways, when I said to the gentleman, I'm sorry, I'm making a short story long, but when the gentleman, he says, oh, we got to check this and we got to check that. So, he's having me go on to different sites and checking the speed and checking to see how it's set up and all these different things. And by the time we got all done with that, and keep in mind, my internet speed is awful. So it's taking me just to load a simple page from Verizon. It's like taking 30, 40 seconds each page. So, it's taken a long time, and he sees this. Yeah, he can tell because he needs me to do this stuff to check. Don't know why, but he did. Anyways, that said and done, guess what's happening? They're sending me a new router modem combination. He says, yes, there must be something not working properly with your device. Yeah, if you just would have believed me the first time, it would have been said and done, and I would have been sitting around a house on a gorgeous day that is in the mid to upper 50s, and the sun is shining. Oh well, that's the way it goes, right? So yeah, that's what I've done all afternoon. Got absolutely little accomplished. I was going to say absolutely nothing, but I did get a little bit accomplished. So anyways, that's been my afternoon. Could be worse. He could have said, oh well, there's nothing we can do. Anyways, just thought I'd let you know, because all that I had planned for this afternoon, I wasn't able to do. I'll talk to you later. We are going to check the mail. And yeah, do you remember back on an older video when it was snowing out and Mindy Lou wanted to sneak behind me so that she could lay down and not follow. She is a lazy puppy. Come on, girl, let's go. You're coming all the way with me. You need the exercise. Come on. Whoop. Oh, almost tripped over a stone there. It is a beautiful day, though. The wind is really, really blowing. I mean, really blowing. Hey, look at there. Look at that. Wow. Oh my, I hope that they're okay. Those are not daffodils, those are irises. Come on, Mindy, don't be a lazy girl. Come up here with me. She's so funny. She wants to just find a place to lay down. It's pretty though. I love when I can get outside without freezing to death. Oh, I thought for sure her little Easter dress I ordered would be here. Guess not. Come on, girls, let's go back this way. Come on, Missy. You gonna listen? Come on, show everybody what a good girl you are. That's a good girl. Yeah, she's so funny. Come on, kids. Come on.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you've had a beautiful day. And the winds have really picked up. From the last time I talked to you, I thought they were strong then when we went to get the mail. And they really picked up to, they said, between 50 and 60 mile an hour gusts. There's been numerous areas throughout our communities here that have power outages, and even some telephone poles and that have been blown over from the wind. So yeah, the gusts are really strong, and praying that everything stays safe and none of the folks get hurt. But tonight, I would like to continue our study in Philippians, and we are going to be looking at chapter 1, verses 3 through 8. And again, I will be reading out of the New King James Version. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you, always, in every prayer of mine, making request for you all with joy, for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. Just as it is right for me to think this of you all, because I have you in my heart, inasmuch as both in my chains and in the defense and the confirmation of the gospel, you all are partakers with me of grace. For God is my witness, how greatly I long for you all with the affection of Jesus Christ. I cannot imagine what it would be like sitting in chains in a prison, alone, apart from everyone I know, away from those that I love, waiting for a verdict of whether I will live or die. Yet these are the conditions that Paul is in as we examine today's verses. In spite of those conditions, though, Paul had complete peace and turned his prayers heavenward for others as he faced this situation. And that same peace can also be ours, regardless of the difficulties. Whatever we face, from cancer tests, from lawyers, from verdicts, from spouses, from employers, that has the potential to point our life in new and oftentimes uncertain directions? God's word, though, shows us that even in grievous circumstances, as in the Apostle Paul's life, there is a marvelous way to experience God's perfect peace, even in the midst of our own difficulties and troubles. There are 3 perspectives that Paul had, and these brought great joy and peace to him. And the same 3 perspectives will do the same for you and for me. The first perspective is Paul had a positive attitude. And I'm not talking about the power of positive thinking. But look at what Paul does when he remembers the Philippian believers. In verse 3, he thanks God upon his every remembrance of them. He is thinking about others. He's not thinking about his own troubles. Then we see in verses 4 through 6 that he prays for them. And I want to point out that in verse 6, that Paul placed his confidence in God's character. He is certain that God, who begun the good work in the Philippian believers, would continue his work until it was finally finished. Then in verse 7, Paul expresses his feelings towards these believers. They had a very special place in his heart. They had helped him during his imprisonment, and they had helped him defending and confirming the truth of the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Having a positive attitude helped provide Paul with peace of mind. And many of us need to work on staying positive in the midst of the storms in our own lives. We are to be a called out people, and our attitudes should reflect Christ to a dying world. Unfortunately, many believers are petty and picky instead of keeping a positive attitude. And as believers, we must make a conscious effort to nurture a more positive attitude towards others. And the only way we are going to be successful in doing that is by focusing on others and not on our own problems. The second perspective that Paul had is he held on to a promise to claim. Verse 6 tells us that Paul was confident that God, who had begun a good work in them, would complete it. He placed his trust and confidence in the one who had the power to bring these believers to maturity and to provide their needs. This should comfort us and give us hope to know that even though we may have people in our life that are far away, or we're unsure if we'll ever be with them again, because our confidence is in the Lord, not in ourselves. And then 3. The third perspective is he had a passionate heart. Verse 8 reveals Paul's heart towards these people by telling them how much he loves them and how he longs for them with a tender compassion in Christ Jesus. Oh, that we would learn from Paul's formula for peace. In the awful circumstances that he experienced, he had the peace of God and was more concerned with others than himself. Paul had a positive attitude, a promise from God to claim, and a passionate heart. Paul looked to God, who is the author and finisher of all he begins. Our God sees the end product as perfect and complete. God saw the people in Paul's life as they would be, and Paul sought to do the same. And we too can rest in the same fact that God sees those in our lives, ourselves included, as they or we will be, not as we are. To experience the power of peace in every situation begins with thanksgiving. Did you know that the giving of thanks is willful? It's a decision on our own part. And giving thanks is also a command by God. His word tells us to give thanks always, for all things and everything and evermore, which you can find in Ephesians 5:20 and 1 Thessalonians 5:16 to 18. The decision to do that no matter what or in what situation has a powerful effect on our attitude and our peace. So with that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard our hearts and minds as we live in Jesus Christ. This is available for you and for me. That is something we all can be thankful for. Good night, and God bless.